Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we have all 4 series of Legend Series, Trucks, Xfinity, as well as the Cup Series coming your way today here. But we start off with the Legend Series here at Bristol Dirt, where of course you guys know we have myself, we have other content creators, we have current stars and some past stars of the sport like Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson here. Ryan Newman so far has won every single race here in the Dirt Legend Series so far this season. So the main goal honestly today was to just try and change that and keep Ryan Newman from winning at all costs. Now Newman, he actually started about 7th place or so he was not up in P1, so it was looking pretty good so far, and it was actually Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 car who was out in front here as I'm sliding around here in turns 3 and 4, 3-1 in front of us now. We get down to that inside and start making up a little bit of ground. As you guys know, you've probably been able to tell from like the first 4 races of the series, the AI are quite aggressive, quite crazy here, so you really never know what's going to happen with these guys on the track. But we were P11, we were working our way up to now the inside of David Schildhouse, who was running P10, and we'll get in front of him through turns 3 and 4, now side by side with the 8 car of Tyler Reddick. Kyle Larson there just in front of some P8. Dale Jr. though still leading the way. Ryan Newman, he was working his way forwards. He was now up into P4s. I left the door open for Schildhouse to actually get back by me. We would continue though back up into P10, now to the right hand side of Michael Cozy Jr. here on lap 6. A little bit of contact between myself and Cozy there as we exit turn 2. We're both sliding around. We make contact again with Cozy. We actually turn him around into turn 3. I try to avoid him and wreck myself, and now both myself, Cozy, Truex, Johnson, Joey Stone, many others get involved in this incident. There's no cautions in this series. We get back underway. I got a bunch of damage. I just threw the whole race away and as well messed over Michael Cozy Jr.'s race and many others at the same time. So we would get back going, but now we were down in P23 and we were trying to work our way back forwards. Dale Jr., the leader, he was coming up just on us now as we were on the outside of Joey Stone, who goes around behind us. Actually, Joey Stone goes up and over multiple times, a bit of a barrel roll. He would actually pull over. He was out of the race. The race was just chaos at this point now, as now Travis Brown, as you can see, I was struggling though, making a lot of mistakes, but Travis Brown would take the lead coming to the final lap of this race here into turns 1. So all of a sudden Moonhead is about to come through and pick up his first win in the series and be the first winner other than Ryan Newman as we go down this back straightaway. I'm trying to stand the lead lap. David Schildhouse, he had actually gotten up into 2nd place into turns 3 and 4, trying to put some pressure on Brown, but Travis Brown hangs on and wins his first series here in the NASCAR Legend Series, or wins his first race here in the NASCAR Legend Series. As I would get to the outside of Chase Elliott, pass him thankfully there, and we would come through to cross line in a very, very disappointing 19th place finish after a wild race here in the Wrangler 100 for the NASCAR Legend Series. So definitely some work to do for us though, as that really hurts us in points. As you guys know, this series has a playoff as well there, as you see the finishing order. Travis Brown, David Schildhouse, both are the first 2 drivers this season to even beat Ryan Newman in general now. So a lot more drivers to go hopefully now as Newman. I really want to see that dominance fall off because it's kind of hurting the series in terms of the whole playoff point situation, because he's just taking them all up now as we come through though into the Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series at Chicagoland for the Camping World 225. So we go to Chicagoland today for both trucks as well as the Xfinity Series, and in the Cup Series we're actually going to Dover, so that's going to be a fun one. We always have some good pace at Dover, so hopefully we can repeat that there today and get back on track with the Cup Series playoffs. But now we come through into the actual race here, and we had subscriber Seth Upole in the truck. If I pronounced your last name wrong, I apologize. Correct me if I did not get that correct in the comments. Seth, now as we came through turns 1 and 2, he was down towards the midfield area. He still qualified pretty decent, though. It was looking like we were at least going to be able to probably get a top 10 out of this race. Now as he was 3 wide down the back straightaway here into turns 3. Now as it goes into the corner, already a bit of a mistake right there. And one thing I didn't notice, but I ended up finding out before I did the Cup race, so I did the Xfinity race with this issue as well. For some reason, my steering wheel got messed up, so it has 900 degrees rotation in my steering wheel. It's the Thrustmaster TMX, and for some reason, it was now at 450 degrees. So I'm driving the wheel like I usually do on 900, and you saw me hit that apron there into turns 1, and that was definitely just the problem with the wheel. I didn't realize that there was an actual issue. So we come through, actually, though, to the end of this race. Seth Upole on the inside there. You see some 3 wide right behind him there with the 88 now as he's up the inside, though. go the 15 of Tanner Gray on the outside. Enfinger has quite the run there as it come through to the finish line and barely hanging on there over Grant Enfinger with Seth in the 77, and he manages to finish in P7 for us as Chandler Smith in the number 38 car pulls off the victory here in the Camping World 225. So a solid effort for us here in the Truck Series Chicagoland, a track that we've struggled at many times here in the past, and really all three series. I think we have actually won here though in the lower series before, as we come through now into the Xfinity Series race now with Paul Menard behind the wheel at, of course, the same track of Chicagoland, and he had a pretty rough qualifying effort. Like I mentioned, I did this race as well with 450 degrees steering rotation in my wheel because I still had no idea that it was messed up. I could tell something was feeling different just based off of the inputs I was putting in, and the car was just turning way too much when I was going into the corners, but I just thought that so last night I was actually on iRacing doing some races on there, the Nitro League, and then I did a race at Circuit of the Americas. So my first thought was I was just trying to readapt to the NASCAR heat driving system, and that was the only issue. But nope, it turned out I was just, for some reason, that the whole steering ratio got completely changed and almost got taken out by half, or did get taken out by half. It's usually 900 all the way down to 450. So I would get that corrected after this race, so when we got to Dover we would be okay in the Cup Series. But Paul nonetheless would be working his way through the field here as we went down into turns 3 a little bit later in this race, and he was closing in towards a top 10 position, and we're already late in this race because not a whole lot happened now as we came through at turns 4. Paul loses a spot to the 6 of David Starr now as we came through, now closing in on the final lap of this race right behind the 19 of Ty Gibbs. Paul was in the middle of a 3 wide moment right there going down towards turns 1. He gets into the back of the 19 of Ty Gibbs and he goes sliding into turns 1, makes a save. Menard gets into the back of him again though and sends him sliding again. Menard tries to avoid it and spins himself out on the apron out of turns 2, and no caution comes out here on the final lap, and Paul is getting hit by another car. I think that was Josh Balicki. We get the car back going, and all of a sudden Paul gives up what was going to be a potential top 10, and now he might not even get in the top 20 here as we go down into 3 and 4 for the final time in the Camping World 300. But so far a crazy start to start this episode here with the Dirt Legends series, having a bunch of incidents there with myself and Cozy, and then Joey Stone going up and over, and now this happens here on the Xfinity Series. Menard would be able to come back around though and still finish P22, so at least it didn't fall outside of the top 30 or anything like that. But Tony Bradinger would actually come through to win again in the 98 cars. Quinn Houff manages to finish in second place with Jean Caruth there in P6, as well as Sheldon Creed and Kevin Magnuson round out the top 10. There's, you see the rest of the finishing order on your screen. But a very wild start to this episode so far here in the career mode as we get ready to go green here at Dover now for qualifying. As you guys know, in the last episode we announced that Chase Elliott is leaving Hendrick Motorsports next season, going to the McLaren team with the 9 car still and Napa Auto Parts still on the car. I will unveil that scheme that Latchon made for it a little bit later on, but that was the big news coming out of the last episode as we came through to qualify with a 23.318 and qualify P11. I know the reception wasn't good about Elliott leaving HMS, but straightforward, I do not care. He is moving to McLaren, and that's just how it is going to be, as Alex Bowman is on pole, along with Joey Logano joining him on the front row, Haley Deegan third, as well as you saw Cindric and Kraus up there towards the top 5. So a solid qualifying effort, of course, for us as well. Timmy Hill down there in P29, Ryan Blaney all the way down in 31st position, and then you got Todd Gilliland there in 40th place with Lewis Hamilton joining him on that back row. Alright boys, I mean, we got some work to do today. I mean, we usually have some decent speed when we come to Dover, but we also know how this season's been going, so top 10 speed hopefully is what we got, and I think we got that, so let's go have a good one. There you hear myself on the radio, and before we take the green flag, we're actually going to start things off with a little bit of an announcement. Next season of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode will be the final season of the Career Mode before the new NASCAR game, NASCAR 21 or whatever it is called, comes out. So next season will be the final season of the Career Mode there. As Matt Benedetto, you saw him starting at the back of the field in that 10 car here as we get ready to go green here from Dover in the Dryden 400 now. So up front, you got drivers like Alex Bowman, who's winless this season, really in need of a win potentially to get into the playoffs, in position to potentially do that here today as we get underway going down towards turns 1. Joey Logano joins him up there on the front row. Logano already picked up 2 wins this season. Most recently, he picked up the win at the Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway in that throwback race now as we go down this back stretch. So now I had the steering wheel issue figured out. We were back to 900 degrees rotation. So it was actually taking me a couple laps to get back into the kind of swing of things with that now, as the car felt a lot lot, of course, tougher to turn. So I was trying to readapt as quick as I could to that situation, and I felt like I did a pretty good job with that in the early laps now, as we have Kyle Larson, our Hendrick Motorsports teammate, on our outside now, as we go down this back straight with Larson on the outside looking in right now. Of course, we've had so many different winners this season, and that has put guys like myself, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Noah Gragson, all in a very close situation on points right now, where I'm 4th in the points, and I'm at risk of not making the playoffs without a win. So we definitely got to get on it and try to find victory very quick. We have Bristol Motor Speedway coming up in just a few episodes time, and hopefully that's going to be the track where we can almost get a free victory now as we came through turns 1 right behind Joey Logano, who had a terrible start, already down to P10, as I have a bit of a moment right there, lost the back of the car, almost slid into Gragson, but out of turns 4 I get aggressive with Logano now. I hit the wall, then Logano runs into the side of me. Of course, we're still rivals, but it didn't really affect me too much, and I know I have way more speed than that 22 car. So through turns 1, out of turns 2, we are going to be able to clear that 22 actually as I clip the wall once again. Fortunately, we do not damage the car, but we get back on the attack now to the outside of the 4 of Haley Deegan. We pass her and move up inside the top 10 now as we get up the inside of Brad Keselowski now on the 7th lap of the stage. Austin Cindric currently leading the way in that number 33 car. He's been a lot stronger this season. He's been showing some more signs of speed at oval tracks now. Has actually clipped the outside wall again on lap 8, gave a spot up to Keselowski, so we had to settle in behind him, and we would just continue though to just stick with it, just stay focused, keep calm, and we would once again eventually work our way back into the top 10. We passed our teammate of Alex Bowman, who won the pole, but clearly not a lot of speed in that number 48 Ally Chevrolet right now. So we also passed the 20 of Christopher Bell, and then once again we'll repass the number 41 of Brad Keselowski and move up into P8. But unfortunately, that was the last thing that happened in stage 1. We cut all the way to lap 16 now, and then the caution actually comes out, and that ends stage 1. So we end up P8, but that was a good, 6 laps right there, at least, that just absolutely nothing happened. I ran around in 8th position trying to run down Noah Gragson, but unfortunately ran out of time with the caution coming out about 3 laps earlier than what stage 1 was going to end. So Harrison Burton actually passed Austin Cindric, so Burton wins stage 1, and we will come through into the pit lane to make a couple of adjustments there. Specifically with the wedge, I thought about putting up the grill tape just by 1 click, but I thought back to previous races here, and I'm pretty sure I've tried to put the grill tape up just a little bit before and we had overheating issues. So I decided to just pull back from that and not even consider it now, as we're going to get ready to go green though for the start of the second stage. Couldn't find the reason for the caution. I didn't see anybody on the pit lane after, so not sure exactly what happened, but we overtake Gragson on the pit lane and fortunately get ready to restart here on the inside behind the 18 of Kyle Busch. Now as the green flag is back out for the start of stage 2, and now in Dover, it is time to get amped. There you have the amp segment here from Dover. Now as we go off into turns 1, a pretty solid start for us. We started P7 there to start stage 2. Now up into 4th place here as we look up the inside of Kyle. Was some contact there with the 18 there as I just misjudged that a little bit and got up into his quarter panel. Fortunately, he keeps it going in the right direction. Now as in stage 2, we have a lot more laps, by the way. Now as there's 39 laps here in stage 2, so we will have to make a green flag pit stop if, of course, it stays green now. As we would also get past the 0-2 McLaren of Eric Jones, who will be teammates with Chase Elliott next season here in the career mode now, which will be the final season of the career mode. But then I was under attack now on lap 5 from the 16 of Colleague Racing's Justin Haley. I was very surprised by the speed out of nowhere in that 16 car. You see the fire symbol, so we know he's fast, and he's going to even take the lead from Harrison Burton as we go down into turn 3. Fortunately, Haley, if he wins this race, he is in like 37th in the standing, so that will not affect us whatsoever if Haley pulls off the victory here today in Dover. Now though, I'm trying to put the attack to the inside of the number 19 19 of Harrison Burton, as now the 8 of Zane Smith was putting some pressure on myself here as we came through out of turns 4 side by side there. With the 19 now is Daniel Suarez out of turns 4, goes for a big spin, hits the outside wall, big contact right there, a lot of damage on the front of that car as he pulls back in front of traffic. A huge moment there as he gets hit in the roof by Lewis Hamilton. A massive crash there for Daniel Suarez, and you can imagine that 100% will lead to Daniel Suarez missing some time here after a big incident. He got hit right where the driver's side part of the roof is, and I can confirm to stay tuned after this race ends. Daniel Suarez 100% will be missing some time after that incident there, as that will be our first driver modded injury of the season for our own car, of course. Going racing, Daniel Suarez with a win already locked into the playoffs, so fortunately that will be able to keep him in the playoffs, but now he's going to miss some time for sure, and we'll have a timeline up for you guys once this race comes to a close now. But a huge moment right there. Very unfortunate to see that happen. Now, it's the first time we had a big crash like that lead to an injury in our career mode with mods was actually Chase Briscoe and the number 14 car. I believe it was like 2 seasons ago now, so very unfortunate to see that happen, of course, especially with our own driver of Daniel Suarez for the Going Racing 77 Yellow Heart Camaro, but hopefully he will be back as soon as possible, and of course before the playoffs. So we come through though, just focusing once again back on the race, and unfortunately we restarted on the outside, and when we restart on the outside, especially at a track like Dover, well, we really have nothing for these guys. So we drifted all the way back down to about P5, P6, and we were working our way back forwards out here, as there was still a pit stop on the way now as I passed my Hendrick Motorsports teammate of Chase Elliott there in that adrenaline shock paint scheme. Now as we came through though onto lap 20, running down Zane Smith in that 8 car, and sure enough, we get to the back of Zane Smith now on lap 24, up the inside of him through turns 1 and 2, and we're about to have a little bit of a scrap here with Smith now as we exit the corner, so side by side with him down the back straightaway into turn 3. Harrison Burton running up there in second place, trying to run down the leader of the number 16 of Justin Haley. Now Smith currently runs P4. If he wins today, we do not want that happening now, as he should likely actually be in the top 30 in points and he would get in the playoffs, so we really do not need a guy like him winning. But like I said, the 16 of Haley, if he wins, it's okay for us. Now is actually out of turns 2. I make a bit of a mistake, a slip up, left the door open for the 8 of Smith to get past me. The fuel light now comes on. I decide we're coming into the pit lane, and so does the leader of Haley, as well as the 19 of Harrison Burton. Smith, Elliott, they stay out. Bubba Wallace comes in behind me. Very easy pit stop call. It was 4 tires, 2 cans of fuel, and we actually have a really good pit stop. We even get out in front of Harrison Burton, who decides to completely stop the car and let me get out in front of him. So we also were close to the back of the 16 of Haley, but he was already starting to drive away and pull that gap back out. Now as we came through though, cycling out into the second position, well in front of the 19 of Harrison Burton, but then the caution comes out, and that's going to close the field right back together, and unfortunately once again we are going to be starting on the outside here. So that's not where we want to be, of course, but now knowing that we're likely going to drift down that order, we just got to think about getting to that bottom as quick as we can here for what will likely be the final restart to decide the finishing order in stage 2. Harrison Burton and Zane Smith on the row behind us. We know we're going to drop here as we get back going. Bubba Wallace, by the way, up in P5. He just picked up his first win of his Cup Series career recently at Texas Motor Speedway, and of course got that first win for 23-11 finally now. So he will be fighting for a playoff spot as well as he tries to move in advance towards the Final 4 position this season and potentially go for a Cup Series championship right now as we go down this back straightaway into turn 3. Only 9 laps to go in this second stage. Behind us, we got Austin Cindric. I was a little bit concerned with some of these guys earlier in the race. We saw some drivers up here in the mix that were looking for their first wins on the season, but now we're getting guys that have already got wins starting to get towards the front, and that's of course helping guys like myself and Chase Elliott and whatnot. But Harrison Burton and Justin Haley, they completely drove away from everybody, so now was between myself and Bubba for P3. We make some contact there. I left the door open for Kyle Busch. He gets up my inside with a lap and a half to go in stage 2 as we go down into the corner, and he also gets up the inside of the number 23 of Bubba Wallace here as we come through out of turns 4. So down this front straightaway, we're going to look to the inside of that 23 on this final lap now in stage 2 into turns 1. Once again clipping that apron sideways there as we exit the corner now, going for that 5th spot now, or 4th spot. Every single point right now, giving our current situation, matters a ton. So we go into turns 3 and 4 for the final time, still side by side, and with the 23 of Bubba Wallace, Haley wins stage 2, but we exit turns 4 and Bubba is going to barely get us there for that 4th position, so we have to settle in for for the 5th spot here in Stage 2. So, nonetheless, a good result, and we beat pretty much everybody that we need to be beating right now on points, like Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, and whatnot, Noah Gregson. So we beat all the guys we needed to beat, but of course would have still loved that one extra point of P4. If only we had maybe just one more foot in it, we could have gotten it now. But we're coming to the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel again, 4 fresh tires. I made another wedge adjustment because the car still felt a little bit too tight, so I wanted to loosen it up just a little bit there, as you see the current running order on your screen here as we get ready to take the green flag for the start of the 3rd and final stage. Unfortunately, though, we start on the outside there in P4. So once again, we know we're going to kind of drop down the order, but if we can get down to that bottom very quick, we'll be in pretty good shape. But I'm going to try and help the 19 of Harrison Burton as much as I can on this restart. I give him a big push. He beats the 16 to the line, but of course that would never even be a penalty because I got him up front, and obviously Harrison didn't actually jump the start now. But unfortunately, once again, you can see that outside being a disadvantage towards myself on the 62nd lap here in this race. But Haley still nonetheless gets clear, but then he jumps all the way up to the top now as Zane Smith looks up my inside, Kyle Busch looks up Haley's inside as we exit turns 4. Hamlin up into the mix behind myself there in P7. Hamlin now 2 wins on the season, picking up his 2nd win last episode in Pocono in his final season of his Cup Series career here now as we go down the back stretch. So Hamlin actually going to be able to get back past myself as well into turn 3, so we have to fall in line to P7. Now the 16 of Haley, he would hold on to the lead now over Kyle Busch as I make a mistake right there and left the door open for Cindric, as well as our HMS teammate of Kyle Larson. Behind us, we got another teammate of Elliott side by side with the number 1 of Noah Gregson, who's fighting for one of those final playoff positions on points right now as we exit turn 2. Once again, fighting though down the back straightaway side by side with Kyle Larson, but unfortunately still being stuck on the top line was really hurting myself because we end up dropping outside of the top 10 behind the number 99 Trackhouse car of Sam Mayer. So all of a sudden, we're worse than we've been pretty much all race as we go down into turns 1 on lap 66. So just trying to stay focused once again, just remain calm, and we made a 3-wide pass right there on Mayer and Larson. We moved back up into the 9th position, and then we would run down Austin. Cindric Elliott, he was moving his way through the field. He was starting to gain some good positions now as we're going to get taken 3 wide on lap 69. Nice by the 99 of Sam Mayer and the 33 of Austin Cindric. A very aggressive move by the Trackhouse rookie driver, but he makes it work. Very clean move, honestly, it was, but I was still a little bit aggravated about that. So out of turns 4, he looks up the inside of Bubba Wallace. I said, you know what, now I'm going to take you 3 wide just like you did to me as we go down towards turns 1. So now we're going to kind of mess him over a little bit, but unfortunately I push up very hard right there and end up losing the ground I wanted. But then the caution actually comes out as we exit turns 2. Still a little bit too early to come into the pit lane, it looked like, because everybody was staying out, so I didn't even consider coming in as you see the current running order on your screen. So now Haley Deegan will be getting the lucky dog here, moving back onto that lead lap as Briscoe will now move into that lucky dog position after her. And the reason they were a lap down is because they stayed out quite a bit longer in stage 2 when we made those green flag pit stops, so everybody was able to get in front of them that were at least up towards the front of this pack. So now we're back underway now with less than 30 laps to go, and a very awkward restart right here for Hamlin, Elliott, and Burton, myself, and Bubba Wallace. We passed all 3 of those guys, and all of a sudden we're back into the top 5 in just a flip of a switch here as we exit turns 2. So now the 16 of Haley continues to lead the way. Kyle Busch side by side with Smith, Bubba Wallace there in 4th place. Hamlin, Burton, Elliott all behind us here as we come through turn 3. So we know we have some good speed here in Dover, but we also know we don't have a car that has winning speed. And I'm really trying to get a win now as we actually get a very good opportunity right there to make a pass on the RCR driver of Zane Smith. And then we look up the inside of Kyle Busch. All of a sudden, when we were talking about not having race-winning speed, here we are making moves up inside the top 3, clearing Kyle Busch. I got a little bit aggressive with him there, made some contact, got him sideways. But then now on lap 77 to the inside of Bubba Wallace into turn 3. So we're moving forwards and forwards as this race goes on. But I knew we still had no speed for that 16 of Justin Haley, but we cleared the 23, so now we know green flag pit stops once again are coming. So now on lap 80, though, I make a mistake. Clip the apron. That allows now the 8 of Zane Smith, who had already moved up into P3, to look up my inside, make a pass. But I knew my only option if I want to even try and win this race is probably pit maybe 2 laps earlier or so than the competition. So now 5 laps of fuel in the car on lap 83. I said now was the time, because last time out we pitted probably a lap or 2 later than when there was 5 laps of fuel in the car. So I decided to come in here, get down to 35 miles per hour. Very easy call. 2 right side tires and a can of fuel. So we come in and it's going to be an 8-second pit stop or so. And of course, now we need to make sure it stays green, but it's only going to be maybe 40 seconds or so before these guys start to come in. So we're just hopeful that nothing goes completely wrong right here. So we get back ready to come out of the pit lane, and we don't even go 2 laps down. We do go 1 lap down, of course. But here comes that 16 of Haley, actually out of turn 2, running us down here to potentially put us 2 laps down, as we're right behind that 78 of CJ McLaughlin, and he is in the way, and he's slow. I make a mistake hitting him right there, and then now here comes the 16 of Haley, and he is going to put me a 2nd lap down because we got caught behind this guy right here. So we go up the inside into turns when we get past him, but I was expecting Haley to probably come in within the next couple laps here as we exit turns 2 and go down this back straightaway. And then my spotter TJ Major says, you know what, he's coming in right here, and you can see him pull off line. So Haley coming in from the lead right there. So now we just got to cycle through, and we'll be in good shape here now. We're just 1 lap around, and we'll be back on the lead lap now, as we only have 15 laps to go here in this race at Dover. So running out of time, of course, but we're probably going to cycle out through to the lead because we came in, what, 2 laps before that 16, but that all gets wiped in an instant because the caution comes out at the worst time possible, and we're not even in the lucky dog position. And what's even worse about it is some guys are not going to have to pit under the caution because they were already coming into their pit stop or into their pit box, so they can complete their pit stop. So we're going to be down here in about 37th place, and we can't do anything about it. The best we can all of a sudden do is 34th. So all of a sudden, just like that, pitting about 2 laps earlier ends up completely destroying our race, because now we only have 10 laps to go in this race. Even if we get a very quick caution, get the lucky dog, well, there's only going to be like 6 laps to go, and we would have to work our way from, once again, you know, 33rd or something like that to the as close as we could get to the front. So very, very disappointing. And now I was a little bit kind of in panic mode, simply because I know we're about to probably lose about 30 points that we were going to have if that didn't happen, because we're going to be in the top 5 probably. So now all of a sudden, that means that Chase Elliott, guys like Noah Gregson, and then Alex Bowman as well, are all going to be able to gain those points on us here, and it's going to be a lot closer than I anticipated in terms of the cut line when we get done this race. So I was really hoping that a caution would come out, and the caution was not coming. Kyle Busch actually took the lead from Justin Haley and would not look back, and we come straight through to the end of this race now. We're approaching the final lap. Kyle Busch takes a white flag. The caution never came. So 34th is what we're going to have to settle for here in Dover all of a sudden, because of just deciding to come into the pit lane a couple laps early completely ruins our race now, and that's going to affect us a lot here in the playoff grid as we make a little bit of contact there with that 99 Trackhouse car driven by Sam Mayers, go down the back straightaway into 3 and 4 for the final time. Zane Smith all the way down to P14. A rough finishing result for him, but Kyle Busch wins his 2nd race on the season, the 4th driver, I believe, to win multiple races this season, and we have to settle for 34th place in the Dryden 400. So we threw another one away there just because of bad luck, of course, now, but unfortunately that caution that we needed never came, and you guys are going to see the effect it gives us now, because that playoff grid, it does not look in our favor very much right now, and you're going to see what I'm talking about here in a few moments. But Haley have to settle for 2nd, Burton, Cindric, Gregson up there in the top 5, but right immediately after the race there, you see Gary Owen, the owner of Going Racing, confirms post-race that Daniel Suarez will miss 3 to 5 races after his huge accident at Dover. We're working on finding a replacement for Charlotte, but the main thing is focusing on Daniel's recovery and getting him back in the car ready to fight for the playoffs, said myself. It is unclear, of course, who is going to be in that car, but right now it's kind of looking like Max Gutierrez could be in that car, as well as maybe you could see a potential Formula 1 driver come in if he's available between off weeks in Formula 1. So stay tuned on that. Unfortunate, of course, that we're going to have Suarez missing some time, but he already has a win, well inside the top 30 in points, and should remain inside of the top 30 in points, even if he misses up to 5 races. So should be okay on that. We'll, of course, have to stay tuned with that now. And in the next episode, you are, of course, seeing currently the playoff grids for all the series. We have Indianapolis and whatnot coming up, but it's just Cup Series in the next 2 episodes. A Cup race in the next episode at Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600. By the way, if you forgot, Jimmy Johnson's going to be in this race in the number 25 HMS car with Carvana on the car. So very excited for that one. And then we only have one cup race in the next episode, and that will be the track that I think we're all looking at going for at Bristol to potentially get our first win on the season. But look at this. We are in a very interesting position right now. So only 454 points, which is 11 points above Chase Elliott, who's only 9 points above the cut line. So we are in an interesting position with only 20 points or so to the good right now after 17 races. So it's going to get close here for the rest of this regular season. We got to stop making risky calls like that because it really bit us today in a time we can't have it. So if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time of your day to watch this episode, and of course want to say thank you to the Going Racing members here on the channel of MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy, Arline, Bubba Jr., Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, AJ Vasseur, Russell Dixon, Kenneth Barnett, Dana9302, as well as King Met XL. I appreciate you guys' support once again so very much. It helps me out so much, and I really do appreciate it. So I'll see you guys, though, in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.